Ring around the rosy, pocket full of pose. Welcome to GalaxyCon Live. I am Mike, and I am joined by my co-host, Super Casey.
Hi.
Who is bringing us in on a lovely rendition of Ring Around the Rosy, pocket full of posies, as we were coming into the stream with two other amazing cosplayers, Jackie Kraft and Oh My Sophie. Hi,
Hello.
guys.
Hi. Hello.
So
Hello,
it's a cosplay extravaganza.
I like to call it a cosplay chat. We're in a corner. We're gonna chat, things like that. You know.
Don't put the cosplayer in a corner.
Every show in the world puts us in the corner.
So this is a digital corner.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know. Sometimes we put you in different places in the show.
Yeah.
We find you a room somewhere and, try and lock it and throw away the keys. So guys, this is a show where we talk about, conventions and convention experiences, and you guys know each other a very long time, and you guys all kind of started in the same boat, so to speak, right?
Actually, I met Jackie for the first time at GalaxyCon Richmond. I had known of her forever. But yeah.
But we hit it off, and we've been buds ever since.
Your con made us buddies.
Yeah.
So you guys just met.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that's cool. Very exciting. So, so both of you, will start. Jackie, tell us how'd you guys get started in this? Were you a fan? Were you going to shows?
Honestly, so I didn't even know cosplay existed until I saw the sci-fi show. Here's a cosplay. Hate it or love it. It's what I saw. I watched it with my brother.
Hey, we did one of those at one of our shows in Miami.
Yeah, see, I unashamedly just say the true story because it's relatable. A lot of people did watch that show and really got into it. And it was interesting, and I immediately was like, I must make a costume. So I tried and failed a few things in the beginning, and then eventually made a Poison Ivy, like my own version of it, and went to a North Carolina con, then a Virginia con, and then made a set of armor, and met Casey not too long after that, actually at a Wizard World event. So, and then we kind of traveled the same circuit for a while, and that's how it all started, I guess. Just a TV show. And then I went on a TV show.
I was going to say,
didn't win.
She went on a TV show.
Yeah.
What TV show did you go on?
Cosplay Melee, which was another sci-fi cosplay competition show. I was on the Game of Thrones episode. I made a White Walker, my own White Walker, and it was a lot of fun. I definitely would do it again, but I didn't win. But
you do it again, but next time you'd win.
Yeah, I definitely win. Like, I would have to sabotage the other. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I wouldn't do that. We were so helpful. We would never do that. But the experience in meeting new people, as you guys know, like, competing doesn't take away from the friendship factor in cosplay. It's weird. Like, we don't care that we can.
It should.
Well, if it does, I don't meet many that it does, because most of us are just like, it's so nerve-wracking to compete that we're excited to just have other people doing it with us. So.
I actually saw you the first time on that show, and I was like, she's so cool.
That's so sweet. Oh, I love it.
So where'd you start, Sophie?
Oh, so I had only seen cosplay on TV. Like, I didn't know there was other conventions other than San Diego Comic-Con as a teenager. And then my best friend Sissa was like, hey, come to A-Kon in Dallas with us. And I wore like this old Halloween costume because I didn't know really what it was all about. And I got there, and I remember walking onto the show floor and just seeing all these big, beautiful costumes, and I was like instantly intimidated. I was like, I can't be here. But people I didn't know were like coming up to me like, well, what are you from? And I was like, no, nothing. And they were like, well, let's make up a character for you. We're gonna get you. And I just felt so overwhelmingly included that I was like, these are my people. I love it so much. And then I started making my own costumes because also Heroes of Cosplay. I would like try to figure out where people got all these really cool costumes. And then I watched that show and I was like, oh, you can make them. And so kind of the same thing for getting started making, at least.
Yeah.
And then, I met Casey also at Wizard World. Kate Man.
Yeah, bringing people together. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's all you, Casey. Bringing the...
Yeah. So during this time, what have you guys been doing at home? Since we can't go out, we can't wear costumes. What have you guys been doing with your quarantine time?
building and patterning a bunch of new costumes. I figure if I make a bunch right now, then when all the shows resume again and I'm busy, I can just debut new costumes.
Thank God, because usually you guys are like, it's 3 hours before a show, and you're still making the costume as you're like, leaving the hotel room,
Yep.
walking to the show, down the hallway with the hot glue gun.
I've definitely done that before. I do.
Crunch is Sophie's middle name, actually.
Yeah, I'm working on that. My goal this year is to slow down and not do that, not like speed build, because I cry so much.
Oh man, we all do that to each other though. Or
Yeah.
to ourselves. It's so bad how we can plan 3 months in advance and it doesn't matter.
No,
Time just goes away for some reason. But I'm not building any costumes right at this moment. I decided that I would join the mask task force that's going across the country right now. I've been making masks for medical workers and people on the front line. So here's some of my masks that I've been doing. And I do have them on my Cosplay Pattern site. If anybody wants to make masks for healthcare workers, it's a really good cause. And they're very excited to get them because there's a shortage, in case you haven't heard.
I might have seen. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very
So
How
cool.
many masks do you think you've made so far?
I've got about 200 miscellaneous shells and 100 boxed up and ready to go out. Even my own doctor asked for some, and then I've found a few local ladies like quilters and stuff like that
Wow.
that are getting involved. So it's pretty cool. My state is actually second in the country for most PPE equipment crafted so far. So we're
wow.
freaking crushing it, man. Yeah, it's awesome. But it's been nice to sew and not cut foam and glue it together. It's a good change. It just feels like I'm tapping into a different skill set. So I don't mind it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, the charity work that so many cosplayers do, it goes unnoticed just because we do so much. Are you guys doing it, not outside of or inside quarantine time? Do you guys do any other charity work?
I do some fundraisers, sell prints. I've done a lot for like animals, like cats and dog rescues that are really underfunded, especially the no-kill ones. And I'm waiting on my materials for masks, but the mail is like crazy right now, so I haven't been able to start yet, but I'm hoping this weekend.
Yeah. I love fundraisers. I love those kind of things. But my grandmother is one of those, she goes out and she has to touch the people she's helping. She delivers things in person and she can't do that right now, but she still feeds a bunch of stray cats, 20, and she's captured all of them and had them all neutered and spayed. So she has her own fleet of stray cats that she's just determined to keep alive, but also not affect the population by letting them, keep
That's like my
reproducing.
heaven.
So I help her. I go with her and feed these wild
Hang on,
cats.
Sophie. If there's anything we've learned from the Tiger King,
Oh,
I had a friend
gosh.
whose sister worked for him, so I was very excited to see that documentary.
oh
What?
my,
Yeah. So,
in
that's
Oklahoma.
yep.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So I knew I didn't know it was that wild though, but yeah. I
That
would
hairdo, man. I can't believe he goes to the salon and is like, yo, just touch me up with the black on the sides, straighten that out, bleach it straight out. That's a choice, that hairdo.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he won 19% of the vote for governor.
That's what I said yesterday when I saw that episode.
I'm not that far in
19%.
yet. I haven't seen that.
Oh, my bad. Spoiler alert.
No, I'm fine with spoilers. It's-
But he runs for governor of Oklahoma and he comes in third place with 19%.
I can't even believe that. I'm in shock, dude. What is up? There was a guy that's a
America.
wizard that was running for president and has multiple times. I guess it
Right, but
happens.
19%.
That's a lot, yeah. People love his cats, though. Have you
Yeah,
seen
they
this
do.
one guy's I'd give him all my money if I could. What? What do you mean? He just is I want to come every day and see
Every
cats.
day.
Oh,
I
so
was kind of
weird.
torn watching it though. Obviously they're criminals, but also they're hanging out with cats all day. So
I
I was a
know.
bit conflicted.
Speaking of cats, here he is.
Oh, he's there.
Was that Tweak?
Hello, Tweak.
Oh,
Oh. He should
Tweak
have his
is
own
sweet
little
kitty.
square right in the middle,
God,
his
so
own
cute.
camera.
Oh, yeah.
He,
I mean, you
He'll hang
kind
out
of
for
see
a second.
Doug.
Yeah.
All right,
You
he's had
kinda see
enough.
Doug over there.
oh yeah.
Doug.
He's down here. He's got his own little spot.
Yes.
Oh.
There, it's Doug. He's a needy little boy.
Okay, so I haven't watched The Tiger King. I haven't.
You need to.
Now you have
so,
to.
It's
so if you could
life-changing.
explain it to me in 3 words, go.
3 words.
Big cats, meth,
Yeah.
and
There it
and,
is.
and and gay shit and polyamory.
Yeah.
Every episode is like a roller coaster. You're like, it can't go anywhere else from here, and then you watch the next one, and it just ups. I don't get it.
Guns, mullets, and tigers.
Guns,
it's
mullets,
like-
and tigers. There's
yeah.
like four. The guns. Sandy just said guns, mullets, and tigers. Oh my! There's like 4 people with big cat things.
Like zoos, some
Yeah.
kind of personal zoos, or private zoos.
And so there's this crazy dude in Miami whose wildlife thing I've actually been to once a couple years ago, but it was like going to like a drug dealer's compound. And so that dude was like a big drug dealer, I guess in the 80s, and did a hard time, and now has this wildlife enclosure in Miami, and he's got a bunch of big cats and animals. And then there's a crazy dude in Oklahoma who's a Tiger King who entices straight young boys with meth and tigers. And then and he's at war with this bitch Carol Baskin in Tampa, who may or may not have had a husband who disappeared under strange circumstances in 1997. Who knows what happened? And she's insane and going after anybody who has a thing because she's an animal rights activist. Yet she's basically doing the same thing they're all doing.
Yeah.
And then there's this dude in
Myrtle Beach,
South Carolina,
yeah,
who is like the tiger pimp, and he just uses the tigers and yoga to get young women to have sex with him.
That's a cult.
That is a
For
cult.
sure.
Oh, yeah,
I feel like we're on the Tiger King right now because Jackie's from North Carolina and Sophie's from.
Well, Jackie's in South Carolina, right?
Close
no,
enough.
North Carolina. I'm in North Carolina. Yeah.
Oh,
But the coastline.
Florida. I mean, Sophie's very close. So
That's
Where are
true.
you?
Does that make me Joe Exotic? I'm in
Yeah,
Wichita,
it does.
Kansas. Yes.
oh, you're Joe Exotic. Yes.
Can I cosplay Joe Exotic?
Yes, you should.
that's going to be
Absolutely. You could do
Yeah,
that.
Jarrett said in the comments it would be big next year, and he's right. It's gonna
And
be huge.
Jackie, you're Doc Antle.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'll
And
be
I-
that guy.
I guess I'm the Miami dude.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Yes.
Casey,
Jeff
are
Lowe.
you the bitch Carol
No.
Baskin?
I was about to say it, but I don't know who it is.
You could be Carol.
All I know is that Indiana keeps their nose clean. That's all I'm hearing now.
There's no
Yeah.
big cat rescues or zoos in Indiana.
Nope. We eat
Oh.
bugs and we walk around with no shoes. It's pretty
No,
much
but
it.
when history writes the book on this virus quarantine thing is going to go down as the Tiger King / Animal Crossing month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really will. You're
Everybody
right.
gave their month to those two things.
I can't believe it was just 1 month. Like March felt like forever. Like so many months in one.
And now we've got April to go.
And maybe May.
Wait.
Ugh. What are we gonna do?
Oh.
More cosplays and masks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
true.
just make a lot of funny cosplays. Just say screw it.
So what do you got behind you, Sophie? What are you working on back there?
Oh, so that is finished recently. That's my Vigar from League of Legends. So one of the things I want to focus on this year is some competing. Obviously, like we're kind of don't have shows for a little while. So that is a costume I'm still like doing upkeep on it, and there's a few pieces I'm going to remake because I really want to compete in that when conventions resume, or maybe I'll try some of the digital cosplay contests I'm seeing.
Sure.
But right now I'm working on Soren from Magic the Gathering. That one is over that way. But that also, every costume I make this year is with the goal of being a competition piece. So I'm hopeful.
Dang. My goals were like to make a giant mascot Barge Schmidt costume.
Yes.
It's the other way. Casey's like, I'm gonna make something, museum quality for a competition. I'm like, I wonder how lightweight I can make a giant can of Barge with like the hat
I
that
love
comes on
that.
up.
Yes.
Just for fun. And if I could ship it well, I'd have to make it come apart.
So Jackie, what's that on your shelf behind you that looks like a fossil?
Oh.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Oh, I collect a lot of shells. A whole
Yeah?
lot. I've got really big shells, like crazy huge shells
like a
from the
big
ocean.
shell.
That's a big one. You look like a big shell. Is that what you said?
It looks like a big shell.
Oh,
not
it
you.
does. Yeah,
It.
yeah. I've got I have lots of little shells this is a shell. All these are shells on like little platforms, but the big one, I love the huge shells. I have giant starfish. My family own a big shell shop because the Outer Banks is a shell island, and people love to come here and buy shells. Even if they're from like the Philippines, they ship the shells in, and they come here to buy the shells. So we always go and collect the really big ones when you can find them, just because imagine how long that creature was alive, you know? It's freaking awesome.
I'm always looking for big
wanna get my
shells.
other
I
shell.
collect lots of little shells and like sand when we like go to different beaches and make little jars with like the sand and shells in them. But I've never found a giant. I just want to find a big one once.
I know. We have lots of conchs, but I guess you can't take them off the beach anymore. But when we
Yeah.
were kids, we took them anyway. What are you going to do, arrest us, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Make us put them back?
As someone not from the water, why can't you take them off the beach?
I don't know what the reasoning is, but there is a reason.
I've had shells taken away from me like in the airport before. So they took them out of my bag.
Yeah. Dang, that
Really?
sucks.
Yeah. It was from St. Lucia. It's the only place it's ever happened from. Everywhere else has been fine. So I wonder if they have like certain maybe creatures or bacteria there that they're very strict about. But yeah, they took them, man.
Yeah, New Zealand's like that. They're really particular about what you can bring in. I tried to take a bunch of snacks back in and out and had to go through like the whole customs, open it all up and go through it. It's like, dude, give me my snacks, man.
Leave them alone.
Yeah.
If TSA could quit destroying my cosplays, that would be stellar.
I watched TSA yank a Spike shoulder straight through the scanning machine. It was like the Lich King, and I just thought, I mean, they're doing their job. I try to be so nice about it, but like, it was a moment. So,
You read all these articles about all the things you can do, where it's like, put a note in there, or like wrap it in bubble wrap or whatever, and none of it matters. Like,
yeah.
No.
And you can be really nice, but if they're having a bad day, sometimes they don't care. So it is what it is.
No.
And people are mean to them, so I get it. But yeah.
do you guys have any tips or tricks for traveling with your costumes?
Oh, so I recently, and shout out to Baroness Von T Cosplay for showing me this, but at Home Depot, you can get like one of those big, it's called a Husky case, and it's $60, and it changed my life with cosplay. Like, I used to just pack them into my luggage very carefully and try and wrap them, but foam gets destroyed, pretty easily if it's thrown about a lot or gone through like this. But with these, like, they're really hard case, and then I take like a blanket and soften the edges, and I had no problems on the way back from GalaxyCon, which was awesome.
I
It's
use
60
soft
bucks.
cases, and I've never, ever, ever had an issue with anything
Really?
breaking. I don't know if I'm a really good packer or something, but
Probably.
I see people packing like their pictures, and it just looks so exposed. I don't do that. I literally take underwear, socks, stuff the gauntlets so that they're nice and like puffed out, and then I like wrap them in like a couple tank tops and like bras around the outside of things so they're really padded. Like I take extra clothes just to pack it out. So I don't know. There's a lot of underwear in those gauntlets.
I hate packing so much. I think like
that's
why, because I get like frustrated and I just like
because you're crafting until the moment before you leave. That's what,
It's like I gotta seal some armor, man. I can't pack.
Oh, and then when you open your suitcase when you get to the con and you're like, it smells like spray paint and barge.
That
so toxic.
years ago when I didn't know better, I did that and I just spray paint stuff and put it right in. And when I opened my case, all of my armor was stuck together and the smell was like toxic. Yeah, lessons learned.
Yeah, early days are always worse.
Yeah,
Definitely.
the freshman year of cosplay. I feel like it's necessary to learn how to get through those times.
Yeah, you just gotta hold on, and it's way better now, though, don't you think? I mean, I think like 5 years ago when we were cosplaying, there weren't really any tutorials, there really wasn't any way to find out anything, and now it's like, hey, I'm gonna reach out to Jackie and just ask a question and see what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our community's, I mean, everybody answers questions. Everybody, like most people will take the time to stop and answer a question. As even if we get to them to like sort of delayed, we still try to answer. Like it's a good, I don't know, it's a really helpful community, I have to say.
And I think when you're willing to share what you know and what you've learned, it helps just build that community even stronger. Because especially if it's new people coming in, you give them that experience of inclusivity and I'm going to help you. And I think that is something we need lots more of. But we have a lot of it. I just would love to see that across the board.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I definitely think, I mean, it's people like Jackie putting out patterns on a pattern website that allow us to build things, or, you know, Sophie does a lot of media marketing workshops to where you guys can learn how to do your social media marketing. And so it's things like that that are being produced now that allow newbies to jump in and have an easier time than what we did.
Yeah.
Mike,
so true.
What's up? You okay over there?
What's up?
You dying?
I'm listening to you guys. I'm listening to, you know, Sophie's, you know, you got the social media stuff going on, teaching people.
I'm very passionate about that because when I got started many moons ago, I felt like as I was trying to build up my pages and figure out how to do them, I would reach out to people and it was very gate kept. Like it was like, you know, that fear of sharing audience, which I totally get. But my goal throughout my whole cosplay journey, I think that it just comes from a place of like fear, you know,
and insecurity,
so,
and it's okay.
Yes.
Everybody's got to work past it on their own. Once they realize
Exactly.
that the more that sharing the spotlight is actually beneficial to the community, the more people you can get under the whole spotlight of, you know, the world paying attention to your community, the better. It really is.
You grow together. You don't grow alone. Like that's just not how that is. So because
it's like shooting fish in a barrel. You need a whole bunch of cosplayers in the barrel so that all the mainstream audience can find them. You know?
Yes, exactly.
Terrible analogy, but yeah, you get it.
And so for years, every time I spend a lot of time researching the algorithms and what works for creators, and then I share it with everyone because.
And then I share it with my bosses because you've taught me how to look at them, and then I can share.
Yeah, we had a whole long conversation about algorithms with video on Facebook the other day. And
it's fascinating.
Casey knew something I didn't know.
I was like, I took a class from Sophie, and then every once in a while I text her and ask her what the rules are with Facebook right now, and then she'll give me some links to read. And I mean, there is no gatekeeping between either of you guys.
Well, the rules change every few months also. So you got to stay on top of this because we've watched over the years how the thing that you did 3 years ago, you write the book on it, and now we're 5 books later by now, 6 books later, like everything, you know, they upend everything. And it's not just Facebook keeps changing their algorithm. Instagram keeps changing based on different things, which are different than what Facebook's doing, and God only knows what the hell Twitter's doing. And
true though.
Can anybody explain that to me? And it's just you constantly have to be on top of this. And for people like for you guys, you know, for people that are, or even us, you know, communicating with an audience and constantly trying to engage our audience.
Yeah.
If you're not on top of this stuff, and we all get better by talking and sharing, and you know, we were talking, you know, you're friends with Chris Jackson in Kansas City with Planet Comic Con, and Chris is a friend, and I talk to Chris probably once a week, you know, if not more sometimes, and we share, you know, information, and we talk things through, and there's a bunch of us that do that, and otherwise, how do you know?
Yeah, that's a community. That's awesome, especially between con owners as well. I love seeing that. I've noticed over the last years more and more a lot of the internal competitiveness in our community really is fading away in all these different communities, and people
it's still around. It's still there, and there's still there's still people who have cons that don't want to talk to anybody else and that want to pretend that, you know, they live in a bubble, and there's cosplayers who want to pretend they live in a bubble. But, you know, a rising tide raises all ships.
Yes,
right?
That's a good way to put it. I like
that's
that.
Much better than shooting fish in a barrel.
Right.
So much better.
You know, there's going to be things that you know that, you know, that Sophie, that you're going to know that Jackie doesn't know. There's things that Jackie's going to know that you don't know.
Yeah.
And there's going to be things that Casey knows that, you know, and same thing with me and other con owners. You know, we all have certain experiences, and if you don't share it, if you don't talk it through, you're not going to learn, or it's going to take much longer to get to the next, you know, level. And with everything that's going against you to begin with to be successful in anything, it's generally more helpful to be friendly and helpful if you can.
Yeah, 100%. It should be. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say it should be shared value. Like instead of what is my individual value to me, it should be what is my value to community. And I think that's the way it should be.
And if you're good at your craft, no pun intended, and you're, you know, you're excellent at what you do, having somebody else, you know, get, you know, in the same space isn't going to hurt you.
No.
Or it shouldn't hurt you.
No.
Yeah. No.
And you can can see two people wearing the exact same costume, and you can pick out the minute details that are different. You know what I mean? Like, we could all build a costume, and all three of our costumes would look completely different, even going off of the same piece of artwork, because we all have different skills, and we all have different ways of looking at things. So
right, and there's some people that are better with foam than others. There's some people that are more, sewing oriented. There's some people that are more, that are better at, have more skill with, cobbling together, things from scratch. It all, but everybody has own skills, right? And as Casey said, you can all go in and, I don't know, I'm looking at your Hawk Girl behind you. You can all decide to make a Hawk Girl costume, and you're going to come at it with 3 different sets of wings, 3 different sets of masks.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that about people making similar costumes, because what I did for BlizzCon last year, which I've been lucky enough to host that the last 3 years, and I got to be on the main stage last year and really kind of up my presence and get to host the cosplay exhibition with a lot of familiar faces walking the stage. And I thought, I want to make the costume that I'm wearing, getting to do this cool opportunity, something that my community can be a part of. My community can share in this moment with me somehow. So I commissioned an artist, Zach Fisher, to make 4 designs, different levels of the same kind of costume. And I just put my word out there and was just like, hey guys, anybody want to be a part of my group and make my costume, like your own version of my costume?
That's fun.
And it was amazing. And we had a huge group of girls, guys, everybody, kids. I let it be open to anybody that wanted to do it. There was no restrictions. I didn't put any crafting level, not a single bit of restriction. You could buy and modify. I didn't care. I wanted it to be actually inclusive. And it was amazing. We had a huge turnout, and everybody had similar designs, but so dramatically different, like a true tribe of barbarians. And it was exciting to see that. Exciting to see just like remove the whole stigma of don't make the same thing. No, definitely make the same thing.
What was the costume?
It was a Diablo barbarian. So it was called Cosplayers.
You had a tribe of barbarians.
Yep, of barbarians. And it was amazing. We had couples, we had mothers and their kids. I mean, it was definitely one of my favorite moments in my cosplay journey, just having just a whole community of just making similar costumes. And then as the group went on, because we started early in the year, people would like a little bit of someone else's, and so they'd modify theirs. And it was like we had fought the same beast maybe, and all had this scale type from this beast. Like we added our own little stories and flares, and we made Easter eggs. We started coming up with Easter egg ideas, and we hid them in our costumes, and it just became the most community-oriented moment I've ever experienced, and
that's amazing.
That's something I would do over and over again. I encourage anybody to try that with their community. Try it. Just get a design made and be like, make your version of this and come meet me at this event, because it'll turn into something really, really cool, and you'll make long-term friends that are just going to be with you forever.
There should be a documentary.
Crystal has the link to it.
Yeah,
right now.
It was really fun.
I think that would be a really cool like documentary or YouTube video like journey to show like community like working together and how that can be so beneficial and fun. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, and we had a lot of beginners, which was amazing. We had all the way up to like Spoon. You guys know Spoon makes like, she had her tourbillon with this, she sells smoke machines in our community, and she's an engineer, amazingly, she's a genius of a woman, and she always has just like crazy smoke machines, and she made her own 3D printer, printed her own flexible boots. So we had advanced all the way to like people that had never cut foam before. And they were like, well, I made all the patterns. That was the thing. I told them, if you sign up for the group, I'll make the patterns for free. You can have them all. And I ended up making like 111 patterns. And I thought I was going to die, y'all. I was dying. I didn't realize what I signed myself up for. And of course, parts of my own costume were just like axed. No legs, nothing. Because I wanted to make sure that they had just, some of the tools. Yeah. But it still was, I wouldn't take it back. It was awesome.
Your patterns are stellar. So I bought some of them, and that's why I reached out to you and was like, can you help me?
I'd give them to you.
No, I wanted to support you, but I really want to start making my own patterns. But when I was looking at yours, I was like, how? How do we do that? Okay, thank you.
Oh, girl.
No, so that's what
I'm not a gatekeeper on that either.
So can you walk through that's such an interesting concept. Can you walk through the basics of making an own pattern?
Yeah, so essentially I tape myself up, I make it on my own body. I get a lot of plus size gals that buy patterns from me for that reason, because it's like you can't just scale a thinner girl pattern, because we got dough in certain areas, so you kind of need a thick girl to work with. And but I also have my mannequins, my males and my skinny gals that I work with. And then I make the pattern, I essentially scan it in. You could take a picture, like if you have a mat, anything with a scale on it, you need a scale, that's the key. So you take a picture of the pattern taped onto a mat with scale. And then when you go into your document, like Inkscape, for example, is a free program you guys can use. I would say start with Inkscape. You can use Photoshop, Illustrator. I still prefer Inkscape because it's really fast. And then you just scale your document size, Control-Shift-N, really easy, and type in the size that it is, and it will scale the whole thing, and then it's to scale. It's to that scale. And Bill Duran, actually, my friend, Punish Props, has a tutorial you can buy for like $5 on how to make your own Inkscape patterns. It's amazing.
That's
it's like
incredible.
a 6-part video series that you download, and it's like $5. It's crazy.
I'm gonna need a link to that.
Yeah, that is worth it. If you want to get started making patterns, I definitely suggest that. And then you put your own flair in it. In the beginning, I didn't have a lot of instructions, and now I have color-coded carrots and like lots of little dart instructions, because you got to get ahead of the questions. You got to, if there's going to be a brand new person and you are like my skull pattern has a ton of darts and complex cuts, like 45s, you need to really explain that, or you're going to have a ton of messages in your inbox.
Yeah.
So my patterns have a lot of knowledge on them.
When I attempted my first digital pattern, then I was in the wrong arena completely based on what you just described.
Well, I'm sure
is
there's other
awesome.
ways to do it too, but
it did work.
Oh, it didn't. Well, I'll help you work it out though, girl. It's easy.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's you'll be like, wow, I should have been doing this forever. It's so once you get started, you're like, what else can I make a pattern of?
Yeah.
I have a butt pattern, just
A
with
butt
a butt, just a butt. Yeah, I'm gonna put that on my site. It's just a butt. I'll put it up there for free because why not? You never know when you need a butt.
Never. Not in cosplay, you don't. There's things
Yeah.
I never thought I would ever need that suddenly I find myself needing.
See, yeah. It's
Like
interesting.
what, Sophie?
Yeah.
Throw that out there.
Like-
What?
So,
spot.
can I tell, put me on the spot, can I tell a funnier story that isn't mine,
Yes.
but I won't? Okay.
Hi, Chad.
So, I have a friend who messaged me and asked, so is making this big, beautiful costume, it's for a competition, and she was like, hey, have you ever put a shiwi in a costume? Because I don't think I can get this off.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I helped her research putting shiwis in costumes, and apparently there are people who do that. So she put a shiwi in her costume, and I was like, I mean, she doesn't have to take it off now. She just has to stand over the toy. I think it's ingenious, to be honest.
Well, it's probably better than a diaper. Less bulky,
I'm embarrassed now.
So
No,
Wait, was it you?
was that was Casey? No.
Just put her on blast. My friend.
Yeah.
so Sophie,
Yeah.
what's the most fun group you've ever been a part of? Because Jackie's got her barbarian group going on.
Hey, will you hand me that big shell?
I
Right there
think
to the right.
So I hadn't been able to, where I'm at, like, all the cosplayers are kind of hidden. Like, the community is kind of now just really starting to come together. So I never really had many people around me other than April Gloria when she moved here to do cosplay with. And then so I'd never done a group cosplay, and I was always very jealous. And then in like 2016, we got a group together and we did this big Overwatch costume, and kind of the same thing. Like, anybody could be any character. It didn't matter if there were duplicates. You could be whoever you wanted to be. Some prop builders got involved. Casey was involved.
I was.
Yeah! At Kansas City Comic-Con, and that was the first group cosplay I had ever done, and I just remember being so like, oh my gosh, I love it. Since then, one of the things I really want to do is try, like, at a show, if I'm going to be a guest, to see if the other guests want to do a group cosplay with me. That's kind of a dream. I know a lot of guests kind of have, like, an idea of what they already want to bring to a show, but I just think it would be amazing for, like, attendees to show up and the cosplay section is all, like, My Hero Academia or all Overwatch, whatever's really hot and a lot of the attendees are into at the time. So I haven't had any success getting that together yet, but I would really love to do that.
If we
So I
made the
think
patterns for it, we could, that's how you entice them. You're like, we already have the patterns for like 6 characters.
That's a good
know?
idea.
So when we get back to reality and we start doing shows again, what are we going to see? We're going to see Tiger King cosplays.
Yes!
Yeah.
We're going to see Mandalorian groups.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to see, I don't know, can you really do Animal Crossing group?
Frozen 2. We'll see some Frozen 2 stuff probably
Yeah.
because the seamstresses
Frozen
like
2.
that. Yeah.
What else is-
Oh, Animal Crossing. Yeah. There's already people doing that.
Well, I'm hoping to see
You're right.
Doom Animal Crossing mashups.
Oh,
like, I
that'd be
really
cool.
want to do one. That would be cool. Because they came out, like, the same day or same week. So I think that would be really cool to see.
And then what else is coming out that GameStop refuses to close?
Oh, they're not closed. They closed here.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Well, one state said they would. Pennsylvania said they'd revoke their business license if they didn't close.
Do you not know the story with GameStop and how they were like telling their employees that if anybody tried to shut them down, to tell them that they were essential business because people needed their video games?
You can download them online. What are you talking about, GameStop?
And then GameStop was like, even when the executive orders came down, do not close. And then finally they started closing some stores, and then they started doing curbside pickup. But I think in a lot of cities they're still trying to stay open with curbside pickup.
Yeah.
And it's like insane.
Yeah. And Nintendo combated them by being like, hey, we'll offer you 20% off every digital download. So you don't even have to go pick it up. Like if you want to download a Nintendo game, you can have 20% off immediately.
That's great,
That's
except for the people GameStop suckered into giving them deposits.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, but luckily with GameStop, if you don't go get your game, you can leave the deposit on there and you can put it towards something else when things get back to reality. So
every time you say back to reality, I want to go, oop, there goes gravity. I'm going to stop myself.
All right, so we have a couple questions in the chat. So the first question is, do you guys put out any YouTube tour? Oh, Shell.
Hang on, wait.
There's my big shell. There's my big shell. So it's like, here's my head. He's a big boy.
That's
real?
huge.
Yeah, it's a real one.
I need it.
Isn't it amazing?
That is amazing.
Where did you get it from?
Where'd you find that?
From my family's shell shop in Wanchese.
Can you play it
Fishing
like?
village.
Is it? Yeah, like a shell flute.
Oh no! It's salty still. It's a little salty. Yeah.
When did you get it?
My grandmother actually got it, and she gave it to me. So she just maybe like 7 years ago or something. We were looking for bigger ones. Well, it probably just wasn't rinsed off that well. I don't know. Maybe it's salty because of my house. I'm not sure what that says about me. Just a little salty.
It's salty because you're a cosplayer.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of tears just everywhere. The house floods regularly with tears.
Floods.
Are you still in the bed and breakfast, Jackie?
Oh, I closed it down. Thank God.
Oh, when did that happen?
This year. I signed it closed a couple months ago. That's this building though, and we were gonna sell, but guess what? Can't do that. Can't show your house, can't sell it. So we just decided we're going to renovate and keep it. So my grandparents, I take care of them, and this is their thing. My granddad built a lot of this. Like he did all the trim, the molding, the shelves. He's a creator in his own way. So I never really wanted to get rid of it, but I'm a simple gal. I don't like a big place. It's a lot to clean. I like a small place. So, and if it were up to me, I'd fill it with friends. Come live with me. Bunch of roommates,
that would be awesome.
Could you imagine?
You were always my example when I would be doing like cosplay 101 panels, and people would be like, well, what do you do on your day job? And I was like, well, one of my friends, she owns a bed and breakfast. And
yep. Yeah. Such an unusual thing to be an innkeeper in your 30s.
An innkeeper? That's awesome, though.
Yeah. I met a lot of cool people. We've had governors stay with us and stuff over the years. So my grandparents were cool like that. Andy Griffith, him and my grandmother were good friends. And then Goldie Hawn, her I guess first cousin or something, Ed, he used to come all the time. He'd drive his yacht up, park downtown, then come stay with Nana and Pop and tell them funny stories. They have the cool stories. They're who should be talking. So yeah, it's an interesting job, interesting life.
And Sophie, what are you doing as your real job, like your real life thing right now?
Midwest Esports, so I'm doing social media for them, and that's a lot of fun. Just social media stuff.
And then also you can follow Jackie and Sophie online. We've been running their stuff on the scroll underneath. Sophie, ohmysophie.com with 2 I's, onlyfans.com/ohmysophie. Facebook, ohmysophie. I see a pattern.
Yeah. Solid branding.
And then Jackie.
Oh yeah.
You're Jackie Craft on IG, Jackie Crafts on Twitter, Jackie Craft Cosplay.
Yeah.
And what do you have a website?
Oh, I do. I have 4, but JackieCraftCostumes.com. But then the cosplay patterns is usually where all my stuff is. So I just I'm bad at promoting myself. I don't know why.
You gotta.
Sophie,
I can help you with that.
Sophie can give you some advice. You help her with the foam, and she can help you with
Oh yeah. Well, Sophie and I actually we're working on a little something social media related ourselves.
Yeah.
I had an idea I've had on the back burner for a long time and wasn't really sure what who to go to about it. I went to her about it and she also had the same idea. So we may have something new for the cosplay community that's
Okay.
nobody's ever done before around the corner. So
I'm very excited.
Well, we have some free
exciting.
time right now, I hear.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have
We
some
do.
time. And what about you, Casey? What do you do in the real world?
You know, I work for a con that's pretty cool. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you guys have heard about it. It's a GalaxyCon. And I'm the guest talent director for GalaxyCon, and I started with Mike about 9 months ago. And right now we are doing live streams and twitching. And
Are you working on any cosplays?
Yeah, are you?
no, I'm working for you.
What about your spare time?
I'm painting. That's the skill that I would like to hone as I have some free time is painting. So I managed to, get a couple airbrush supplies right before everything locked down, and so I'm kind of.
By the way, I don't know if you could see in the chat, Crystal started yelling at me not to forget you. And I didn't even see that until after I asked you. So, Crystal, I didn't even need the reminder.
Hashtag family right there.
I love
That's
Crystal.
what's
She's so
happening.
sweet.
Yeah, we have a great
Crystal's on
team
top
here.
of things.
She is.
All right. So, who are you know what? Speaking of other community, so who are some of your favorite cosplayers that you like to watch, that you follow online, that you're like, what are they doing next?
Oh my gosh, so many.
Egg
Lately,
Sisters. I love them.
yes, a big one for me lately has been Kimpatsu because
Oh, yeah.
that's the hat back here is her pattern. I downloaded that and it was so easy to follow that I recently bought her wig book because, like Casey said, I really want to work on honing some skills during this free time that I didn't have before, and one of those is wig styling. I'm so bad at wig styling, and so I just purchased her
hard.
book so I've been watching her a lot lately.
Yeah. Kim Patsu's amazing. I love her. She's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Jackie, who do you like? Who'd you mention a minute ago?
Egg Sisters. I love the Egg Sisters. I love, oh gosh, my friend Core Geek. I love him. I love Bio Cosplay. I follow a lot of guy cosplayers too.
Yes.
I love Genoza Costuming, my friend Brittany. I follow a lot of like makers too. Bob Claggett. I like to make stuff. He has his whole family in shop videos. They're hosting a whole series right now that's like shop class. It's genius. So if you have
that's
kids at
cool.
home that are going stir crazy, go look up I like to make stuff and then figure out something to do with them.
That's cool.
Yeah,
And
Punish Pops.
who's that cosplayer?
It's well, they've just started doing a few collabs with people in our community. It's I like to make stuff.
Okay.
Bob Claggett, he was on the advisory board for Maker Faire with me, and
Okay.
he's awesome. And let's see, who else have I been watching lately? I love Ricky Riddle. You guys know Riddle from Heroes of Cosplay. Love her. She's super sweet. But I think a lot of us watch the same ones. Svetlana. We all love Kamui.
Yes.
You gotta love Kamui. She's just such an odd little German. I just like that about her. She's just fun.
Kamui's very great. Kamui's wonderful. Very
Yep.
German.
Very German.
Very.
Yeah.
You
I
will.
love
You will
that.
do it. You will do it this way.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We went there. Let me just tell y'all a quick little story behind the scenes. So Eric and I went to Germany and stayed at her house. And I smuggled over barge for her. And she gave me her glue to bring back, which was so different. It was interesting. But she was like, here, do you guys want to try this? You try the glue out right here. And so she gave us some foam. We were like, okay. So we cut it and we put the glue on. She's like, no, too much glue. And so I get like reamed and I'm like, oh, dang. I'm like, Eric, don't you use that glue. Don't do it. And Eric does it. She's like, no. And she pulls it. She's like, she just ripped us. And I was like, this is amazing. She should teach a class because it would just be sobbing. All the
She
American
should.
cosplayers will be sobbing because it's kind of fun. It's a fun experience. It's exactly what you expect like a strict German teacher to be like.
But she's so good.
She
Yeah.
is. And Benny is too. You got to give Benny the credit too because man, they kept working while we were there. They're like, is it fine if we just keep working? We're like, yeah. And there he is just filming stuff in the spray booth and uploading it to the computer. And they are an amazing team. They really are. Like their success is completely thanks to like their relationship together. Having a
Painting
partner.
skills. He is mad paint. Yeah.
Yeah.
And his just design skills, like computer skills and patterning. I mean, they're an amazing duo.
I really wanted to, at Planet Comic Con last year, get up close and look at some of her costumes. But I was like 5 booths away from her, and her booth was so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't even get there to, like, say hi real quick.
Well, come say hi to her in Raleigh.
I know.
Yes, I'm gonna make the trip out to see her. Hopefully, well,
Yeah.
if at all, we'll see. But
As long as everything.
yeah, I'm so glad she's coming to Raleigh. She's fun. She's
We
very
talked
fun.
about gatekeeping, and I feel like, shattered the gatekeeping rules because she just starts putting everything out online for us all to watch, and
Yep.
incredible.
Yeah, I've talked business with her. Even like she's not somebody who she's very easy to communicate with. Like she will, I don't know. She's just a cool part of the community. We're lucky to have someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Very
Who do you guys look up to in your
Yeah.
industry?
You mean other convention people?
Yeah, convention
Yeah.
people.
Nobody.
Like,
We're the best.
well, okay.
Just
Well,
us.
who are some people you've worked with that you really like? Even celebrities. Like who's what's
well,
been fun for
other
you?
convention promoters. I mean, Chris Jackson is a friend. With Planet Comic Con in Kansas
Mm-hmm.
City, has a great show. Jared Greer in Lexington Comic Con's a good friend.
Yeah.
Mark Nathan has Baltimore Comic Con. He's a buddy. My buddy Petey's got a horror show in Orlando called Spooky Empire. He and I know each other way, way, way before we ever got in the conventions. There's a whole longer story there. My
cool.
buddy Wingy, who used to work for me and then left, when we transitioned last year after we sold SuperCon to Reed, Wingy left, and he, a few months before the sale, but he started his own show in Miami called Otaku Fest. And, he's a buddy. I was just on the phone with him just before we got on this stream. Who else are we friends with, Casey?
That's so cool.
I mean, I have worked with Andrew Scatterfield before, and
Andrew's, I'm friendly with Andrew. I don't know him as well as I'd like, but in Cincinnati. But I know you do a lot of stuff with him.
Yeah, I feel like I sort of learned some of the programming business from him, and so it's always kind of fun to know the guesting side of it. I mean, we've all guested, but then to see the other side. So Sophie and I have done a lot of panels on teaching people if they want to guest, like how to get into it, and it's because I can see the other side of it as well, and so we were able to give those kind of trade secrets away about what we're looking for, and yeah.
I teach people how to make media kits. That's one of my big things, is that's something that was heavily kept for a while. And so something I focused on for the last 2 years is helping everyone just getting started or established build their media kit so that it's powerful and effective.
Yeah, and if you want to host a hosting reel, just to add on to what you're saying, like I didn't even think of things like that. Leanna Vamp taught me that. It's like, man, obviously I need something like that. You should collect all the stuff you've done,
Yes.
put it into something.
Oh, I tell that to people. We get this question all the time from people. It's like, I want to be a cosplay guest. How do I be a cosplay guest? It's like, look, it's not brain surgery. You have to send an email or a package to a show and be like, this is why you need me. Why do I need you? Oh, well, I do the X amount of programming. Here are some of the panels I do. I do this on wigs. I do this on makeup. I do this on crafting with foam. I do this with sewing. I do this, I can do this with kids. I can do, here's 30 workshops or here's 10 workshops or panels I can do. I can host. Here's links to videos of things I've hosted that are on YouTube. Here's, I can judge a costume contest. Here are shows I've judged for. Here's a list of shows that I've been a part of, or awards I've won.
It's
Here's
literally a resume. It's literally a resume.
Yes.
it is a resume, and too many newbies come at it with a I want to be a guest because they see other people and they don't understand why, and you would look at my site and you go, oh, why is that person a guest? And it's like, well, there's X amount of things that they do for the show, and it may not be apparent, but they're doing something that earned them that spot, theoretically. And
they're adding value in
That's
some way.
such good advice. All of that.
Yeah.
right. And the more valuable you can, and I always tell people, start with small shows. Don't come to me to be a guest with your first show. Go to a smaller show that has 500 people or 1,000 people or 1,500 people. Learn from others who are doing and build your resume.
Yeah. And don't be
And if you
afraid
can't-
to evolve too.
Yeah,
Like,
and
that's
practice
like,
your paneling and
Yeah.
And be a panelist.
Yeah.
Just because you're not a guest.
Yeah.
I always tell people, I go, I only have so much table space, and there's only so much I can make a guest. But I need panelists. So come to a panel, especially if it's a local show, and do enough panels. I'll put you up on the site as a guest panelist, and hone your skills that way. Start out as a panelist, get a couple shows under your belt, so that when you have that resume, look, I want to be a guest. Here are the 5 or 10 shows where I've done panels, and these are the panels I've done, and you can call those shows to check up on me.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible feeling to be a cosplay guest, but it's a lot of work. It's so much work.
Yes, it is.
I tell people this when they ask me the same thing. I say, start with a smaller show and make sure it's something you love, because maybe you find out quickly you do not love talking to people for 12 hours a day in costume, and you don't want to learn that on the floor of a big show.
Right. And there's different types of cosplay guests, and this is also the other important thing. There are very crafty, workman cosplayers, right?
Yeah.
And those are the ones that you're going to use as your judges, and those are the ones that you're going to use to do your workshops. And you're like, okay, show me where you've won. Where have you won? What are the shows where you've won best in show? What are the show? What workshops can you do? And then there are other cosplayers that are more, we'll call it social media friendly and more, model-esque. And so when you go down that route and they don't have the craft skills, okay, well, what are your social media skills? Can you do workshops on how to grow your social media? How can you teach others how to emulate what you've done? So like, okay, great, you've got 200,000 people on Instagram. Now can you teach people how you got those 200 people? Okay, you're making, some money on Patreon. Great. Can you teach other people how you're doing that?
Yeah.
Right? Like just having 200,000, followers on Instagram doesn't excite me and isn't going to make me want to go, oh my God, I got to have you. But if you come to me and say, I got 200,000 Instagram followers, I don't have all the technical skills of a craftsperson, but I can host. I can help you host a costume contest or some of the other contests, the Masquerade or something, and I can go up there and speak, or I can teach how to gain your own following on social media, or I can show you how to build a Patreon page, an OnlyFans page, and how you can start, a business that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what you said about the hosting thing, and it just to tap into that, it's personality. If personality is your thing, and like maybe you aren't even the best crafter, and you don't have the following yet, you're in the middle of those two things.
Right.
Market your personality. My Instagram stories landed me my commercial job with Verizon. I signed a contract with them. That is 100% because I just am myself on my stories. I have a medium following. I can craft, but I wanted to do hosting things, and so I put myself out there every day until someone just came along and found me.
Yep.
And that's the thing, is just if your personality is your thing and you're not sure where you fit in the middle, get out there, make funny content, vlog, do the things that showcase who you are. You have
to be genuine.
Be genuine. Don't emulate anyone else.
No.
Don't. It won't work. It just won't.
And there's a 10,000 hour rule. You do something long enough, you're going to become a professional at it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
like
true.
you do something long enough, like, Sophie, we're talking, when you started out, you didn't know nothing about nothing. Right.
Nope.
And so you put in the time and you learn, and then you learn from other people. And then by the time you have 10,000 hours built in a thing, then you're a pro. Yeah. And so if you're not good at a thing, but you want to get better, just start doing it.
Yeah.
You know what? You just want to stream, go stream. You don't have to be good. Maybe the first, 100 hours, 200 hours, 300 hours are going to be atrocious. Just look at me.
Yeah.
But you'll get there.
Yeah.
And you'll get better.
Yeah. And I think an important thing to note on that as well, because I completely agree, but while you're doing those hours and honing your skills, don't compare yourself to other people. Focus on you and being the best at it for yourself, because I think that's where the mental health issue comes into it in our community, is you start focusing on what other people are doing in the same arena. They may have been doing it longer, or they may have an affinity for that, or have help that you don't know about. You can't compare.
They may have more money, they may have more time, they may have so many different things, and you just don't know. And I think that's where it all trickles back to the first conversation of making friends and having our gal pals and having people that we can talk to on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And if anyone throws shade at you at the beginning, just okay, good for them. If it makes them feel good about themselves, but that you're going to eventually get better and get better and get better. And then, at a certain point in time, you're going to surpass those people.
I always say if people who do that spent more time at their sewing machine than they did saying those things,
Exactly.
they wouldn't feel the need to say those things because they would be where they want to be.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they're wasting a lot of mental energy. I'm immune to that crap, dude. I can't be bullied. I don't know how it happened in life, but I'm like a rhino, dude. Because I just look at it like, that is what you're doing with your time? You want to bully me with your time? What a boring hobby. What are you going to do, bully me for 30 seconds? Oh, I'm bored. Now I don't have anything to do. Like, get a hobby, dude. Like, I can push past it. You've been a bully. All right, let's get over it. You were stupid. Now let me teach you how to do something cool. Like, just drop it's the weird thing about internet jerks. I don't understand it. It's just a weird waste of energy. Life is too short. We're learning that all the time right now. I'd say everybody just be corny if you're corny. You don't need to be the tough guy. Just say like, I want friends. Teach me this. Yeah. It's fine.
100%.
We're all soft on the inside, all of us.
I mean, it doesn't hurt that you're like a master level craftsmanship. Either.
Yeah.
Well, but I make junk too, girl.
But she didn't start as a master weapon.
Yeah.
I made a 50-pound solid clay, air clay bow that is just like cracked to pieces. It's nothing. It looks terrible. I kept coming home every day like, oh, look at this. Look at me sculpting this bow. And it just cracked, fell apart. It looks like junk. But so we all have our moments. The first con I walked into, you guys, both of my heels and my shoes snapped off as I was walking up the steps. I was like,
that happened to me.
This happened to Sophie too.
At Wizard World St. Louis, I was one of the cosplay judges, and they announced me to walk across the stage. And when I did, it was my Warrior Barbie costume. The whole bottom platform of the heel flipped underneath me. I don't know what it looked like to the crowd, but in my mind, I went into the air for just a moment, but I caught myself.
Oh my gosh, girl. Dude, I feel you. I walked across stage at Wizard World, Iowa, and my straps popped off for my Shredder cosplay. I had a strap popped for a Ganon. I was just holding it all awkward. Girl, we've all been there.
My first armor build I ever did was Bologna, and I built it really fast in a month, which when you're getting started, you shouldn't speed build. But no one told me to let barge dry before. So anyway, I put all of this together. I put it on in the show floor, Kansas City Comic-Con. I stepped outside to have the first photo taken in it. The wind blew and it blew off of me. I'm not kidding you. Every strap failed.
Oh no, dude.
The most painful moment. I still have a moment in my mind when I think about that. So let your contact cement dry. Let it dry, friends.
Let it get tacky. Yes.
I have these giant wings back here, and for the longest time, you could look up Super Casey bathroom, and where I was stuck in a bathroom because of the wings, because I couldn't get them off by myself, and I went in, and I put one up on the stall, and one up on the stall, and I went potty, and then when I stood up, they went right into the ceiling, and then I couldn't move, so I'm yelling out to the bathroom for somebody to come in and help me. Yeah, it was terrible.
I have a locked in the bathroom story, and it's nothing like that. That's way worse.
Yeah.
Like, it went up into the ceiling thing?
Yeah, so because I put them up so I could sit down, and I stood up, and when I stood up, they went whoosh. I was like, oh, I didn't think this through, did I? So, And the worst part about costuming is when you have to get naked to pee. It's just the worst. And so that's
I went into a bathroom in my Thunderbird Farah, which is big and wings, and it's all plastic. So I can't sit in it. Somebody had to help me put the arms on and everything. And someone opened the door for me. I go in and I'm like, do. I just wanted to look at myself because I kept getting something in my face. And then I go and I can't get out. I couldn't use I had a rocket and everything and these big bulky gauntlets. So I kept just trying to grab the handle with my costume. I just stood there and waited until someone came. So finally someone pushed the door. I was like, thank you. Do you mind just holding that for a second? I was there for about 7 minutes or something, just standing, guarding the door. But that wing one is way worse. But a great story now. So
yeah, terrible.
And 2 things. So the first one, Scott Barron says he wants to get better at making friends. Scott, if you haven't figured out how to make friends at this point in time, I know Scott very well.
Oh.
If you haven't learned how to make friends at this point in time in your life, I don't know that we can help you. I mean, there's some people out there who I'm sure want to be your friend, Scott.
Yeah.
I will help you. I will help you, Scott, but
I'm so glad you prefaced with that you knew him, because I thought you were about to be real savage for a minute.
No, Scott's a good friend. Scott's a good friend who, and I hope I'm not butchering this. Kaola,
that's right. Yeah.
Recommendations on how to get in the judging contests.
So, for me, it was something that came with the guest package in the beginning. Like I said, competing is not really something I've delved into. I was very afraid of that world for a while. So for me, it just became kind of part of the package. I'm sure there is other ways, Jackie. I know you've done.
Well,
lots.
what about you guys that like book us? You know,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
as the people that
Yeah.
hire us, what do you look for?
I mean, that's a lot of the maker people, right? It's people who have the skills to be able to, somebody walk across the stage and be able to judge the costume within seconds. I mean, if you think about if you've either sat in the audience of a costume contest and you've seen 100 people go through, typically it's like 30 seconds, maybe to get them across the stage.
Yeah.
And so you really have to have somebody who,
Well,
has that.
if we go back even deeper, it depends on the kind of costume contest it is. If it's a runway style contest or if it's a craftsmanship contest with prejudging. So, our big contest is prejudging. So our judges sit in a room. Not a lot of people know,
And Jackie just did this.
Yeah, I just did
Right.
this. Yeah.
So you'll sit in a room for 4.5, 5 hours, and that's your first session. And then you'll take a little break, and then you'll come back and you'll be in there for another 3 hours. So you're in a room for, 8, 9 hours in a day, judging 150 people.
Yeah.
And that's not easy. And so what we're looking for are accomplished, people who cosplay and I do like to see either that somebody's either won a number of contests and gotten to some best in shows and masters, or they just are so good and they just do good work, and so they're not in competition, but they have just created a name for themselves as somebody who does good work. And that they're gonna know how to judge other people's contests. I also would say that you start out with the smaller shows. It's a lot easier to become a judge at a smaller 500 person show, 2,000 person show before you get to the 20, 30, 40,000 person shows. But become good at your craft, and then you can judge other people.
Yeah. And can I say one more thing that I think you guys will agree with as people that book these guests? You got to be nice. They will rat you out, dude. If 150 people come through and you're like, and you are a jerk about it, or you're getting tired and grumpy, they're tired. They've been standing in line for 6 or all day or whatever. They've been standing in line. Everybody gets tired. It's a job, so you gotta be nice to these people. You gotta be kind.
Yep.
And I think being critical, but with like a gentle hand, is probably the best
And
way to go.
You
about
did it with Jordan in Richmond, and Jordan's always coming to me after the thing, going.
And Michael, he was the other one too.
Yeah, but Jordan has for years just been like, everybody needs their 30 seconds. Everyone needs their minute. Everybody needs their time, right? And people, no matter how good or how bad or where they are in the scale, they all want to feel like they're being recognized and they're being seen and they're given a fair moment. And you don't have all the time in the world with each, because again, you got to get in 100, 150 people, and you don't have all the time. But you have to give them that moment so that they feel like you've acknowledged them and that you actually looked at their costume and saw the work. And again, it may not be a great costume, but it doesn't mean they didn't put in a lot of work and that they're still learning and they're still, on their path. And it doesn't hurt to, give a tip here or there, or,
Yeah, it's our job as a judge. It's you're judging them. Yes, they're coming to you to be judged on their work, but like you also want that moment, if this is the first time they're being judged, that they are not scared away. That they are like, oh, this isn't such a scary thing. Maybe I will go on and make another and keep doing it. It's not so bad. You want to try your best to make them feel like it's not something scary and it's not overwhelming. And a lot of different personalities come through that room in the day. Some boisterous and extremely confident, and some shaking. They're so nervous because that's their personality type. And it's your job. If you accept that role, it is your job to make that moment with that other human a positive one that they will remember in a positive way. It is your job and you have to do it. You have to.
I mean, they just spent all that time on their craft, and it is your job to make them feel special.
I feel very strongly about this because I was doing prejudging at a show once, and it was like 8 hours, and it was a really long time. More people entered. However, one of the judges with us was upset with us for like complimenting them, especially the ones who this is their first time building anything and entering during prejudging. We'd be like, oh, you did a great job, thank you. And they were so angry, but in front of that person. Like, don't say that to them.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that, man.
Never do that.
I know we've been here a long time, but that's what we signed up for.
Yeah,
like it should be, like obviously judging the costume, but it should be a positive experience.
Yeah, well,
Emily,
they'll never forget us.
Yeah,
Emily just made a comment. She goes, "I always feel nervous to enter because my skills are so basic." And I think, Emily, the thing I would say to that is, and Sophie, Jackie, Casey, you can back me up, is that you got to start somewhere. Mm-hmm. And so, all right, so if you're a novice, and you're in with a whole bunch of other novices, and you're not going to get better unless you do it. And so just do it, get better. And who knows? We have novices that win all the time that are their first show ever or first contest ever. Sandy just yelled out that we had somebody in Richmond who won, that it was her first ever show. Are you talking about the Queen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked a winner there. I don't know if you saw the Black Panther Queen.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That was first ever, time she's ever entered a contest. Her grandkids were like, you got to enter, you got to enter, you got to enter. And she made her costume out of a tablecloth.
Yeah. That she got from Goodwill, of all places. Like, it was all found material.
But it was amazing. And that crowd popped so big for her.
They did. I reacted because they reacted. It was so exciting. So
you should never discount yourself just because you're getting started, man.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not.
Right, and it goes back to what I said earlier. 10,000 hours. You put in the time, and part of putting in the time, if you're going to be a cosplayer, is to go through the process of getting, doing the contest, of hanging out with other cosplayers in line, of seeing what other people are doing, making friends, and then getting your bones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you learn so much from the people you're just standing around talking to in a contest. I mean, and you make really good friends. I still am friends with the very first person I talk to her all the time, actually, that I stood beside for my very first competition. I just happened to stand beside, my first name's Ruth, Jackie Craft is the stage name, and this girl's name's Ruth, of all things, and we just happened to be standing beside each other, competing against each other, and we're still friends to this day, because those moments are special. You're never going to forget that, and it's you learn from each other, and don't be afraid to be like, oh man, I have no idea how to do this, and drop that ego. Ego is your worst enemy. Ego stands in the way of everything you want to be in life. No, that stands in the way above everything else. Let ego go. It is your worst enemy, and when you do, you'll learn faster and better than you ever have before in life, and more from each other that way.
Absolutely. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard that same story where people have met lifelong friends on that line, people that 5-10 years later they're still friends with, and Seth asks, is there any hope for GalaxyCon guys? Yeah, I mean, in Richmond we had Night Mage.
Heck yeah, I love him.
We had two, the judges were actually two guys and Jackie.
Yeah, which is awesome to see.
And currently we have 3 guys for Raleigh. So I'm a big promoter of men in cosplay, because I think generally women have it a little bit easier with a following, and so male cosplayers are my bread and butter. I love them because I just think that they're incredible to watch, incredible to talk to, and so.
And you're not an ageist either, which I like. I like that you run the gambit on ages that you book. That's another thing. It's not just young 20-something-year-olds. No. You really include the spectrum, because artists exist in every shape and form.
Right, and all shapes, forms, sizes, races, colors, creeds. I mean, you can't look. You could, Sophie, you could do a makeup panel, right? Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a great makeup panel for white girls.
Yeah. Yep.
Certain complexion.
Right. But that doesn't help
for African American. Nope. Not going to work for Asian. Mm-hmm. Not going to work for some
men.
Latinos.
Probably not so much for men either.
Yeah. Right. So. Yep. So I can't tell you the how important it is. And Jackie, you were talking earlier about making patterns, and some of the not all women are the same size, and not all men are the same size.
Yeah.
Not every costume is made for a size 0, right? Like, you need to be able to. So there's it's got to be everything. And then, like I said, the woman who won in Richmond, she was phenomenal, and she was in her 70s.
Yeah, that's killer. That's so
late
cool.
60s, like phenomenal.
Yeah,
doesn't matter how old you are.
Cosplay knows no age, man.
It doesn't.
No.
The person that beat me in my first contest, I got third, and the number one winner was a 70-year-old Thor. And like, I'll never forget that moment because it was like, dang, this place, that was my very first con and contest. And I just realized, oh, this is a new land. I mean, this is nothing like anything I thought it was. It's for everyone.
Same thing. Actually, I competed against, and she's a great friend now, Galaxy Amethyst, who's out of Columbus.
Yeah.
And I competed against her, and she's just turned 16. Maybe she's 15.
Oh
but
my God.
She was 14, and she beat me at
That's
a master
awesome.
level. Yeah.
I love that.
Amazing. You know,
And so I booked her as a promoter before
so
because
cool.
I think she's just she has this whole slogan of kids can cosplay, and it's just an incredible feeling to work with somebody so young who is, like I said, she beat me at 14 years old. So
it's amazing.
Eric says he's 52.
Heck yeah.
And Eric, hang on. Did you earlier say that you started when you were 10 years old? I think that's what you said in an earlier post.
Oh. He's an OG cosplayer.
I think. Tell me if I'm wrong. Eric, hang on. I'm going back through the old comments. I don't know. I can't find it, but I think, and people forget that, conventions have been around. Oh yeah. He goes, his mother dressed him. Yeah. I mean, people forget that, conventions have been around a long time. I mean, you could look online and you could see the costumes from 1939 from the first World Con. And it's, people in Flash Gordon stuff and sci-fi stuff. And then I don't know if you've ever watched on some of my favorite things to watch on YouTube are the old convention videos.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
70s.
Mm-hmm. I love the 70s. Yes.
Yeah.
Like with the crazy Red Sonias and all these weird superheroes and those are from some of the Comic-Cons that were happening. And he was reenacting Civil War.
Oh, that's cool.
Civil War stuff. Then that's cool.
Oh, that's funny.
So even
That is
that, you
cool.
can come in from like Civil War reenacting or World War II reenacting and get into the cosplay world. But like, I love watching those old videos of old conventions where people, 30, 40 years ago were doing the thing that we're doing now.
I used to do a history of like cosplay like panel many moons ago, but there wasn't a ton of like interest in it back then. I wonder now if people would be more, as it's evolved so far at this point. I wonder what the interest in that would be.
I think I'm pretty sure it's a niche, like it's a niche that but it's so cool, and I wish people would just be more like if anybody who's listening to this has a chance, just Google like 1970s, Comic-Con cosplay.
Yeah, and like Star Trek conventions back in the day.
Yeah.
Like Klingons. People dressed up as Klingons even back then.
Yeah.
Well, I used to go. That's where I started going to conventions when I was younger, and I would go to Star Trek conventions and Comic-Cons in the 80s.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
That's cool.
And that was the cosplay. The cosplay was Star Trek, aliens and Star Trek, Captain Kirk and stuff, and then you had the superheroes, stuff. And it was not as prevalent as it is today. And know your history.
Yeah.
I think it's cool too because a lot of those old style costumes are even harder to make than what we're making now. Like those Star Trek uniforms, like with the polyester.
Oh, and back then, you're right. We had to make them with patterns.
Like
You had to make that stuff with patterns.
Tissue patterns,
And back then, imagine making these costumes in the 70s before the internet.
Yeah, no.
When there were no books about it, and all you could do was watch TV and be like, okay, now I have to try and replicate this. But you didn't have VCRs to record it. So you had to do it from either.
Start and rewatch over and over.
You couldn't do that.
Oh, you couldn't?
Right, there's no VCRs. So imagine watching in 1974, 75, you're watching a thing, and then you've got to remember, maybe you got lucky and there's a magazine, like Starlog or something, where there's like a photo of it.
Gosh,
But no internet resources, you couldn't hold a screen capture.
Yeah.
And now companies release like kits, like Blizzard did the cosplay Overwatch kits that had like all the different angles and stuff.
I would love to see an interview from somebody who was cosplaying and making back then. Like, how cool would that be? Just to hear about their experience.
Eric's saying his mom started making costumes in '64, and she's still sewing.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, I'd love to see some of your mom's work.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You should do like a little album of like if she is okay with that, like photos of stuff she did and like her stories. That would be really cool.
And then reach out to a lot of those of you trying to break in. This is my advice to you. Compile that, reach out to a lot of publications. The New Yorker right now is doing running an article this week on cosplay. Every mainstream magazine. Yeah, the New Yorker. I've got the Wall Street Journal behind me. It's just a matter of time before they jump in. Everybody's interested in finding out what this cosplay thing is. Yeah. So I got started by blind calling, like blind emailing tons of companies. And still to this day, that's how I get some of my little side jobs. So that mom story is interesting. You should run with that. And then mom will feel cool too.
Yeah.
Which is always fun.
And it's always cool. Like when I see older people at the show. I mean, Casey, do you remember the Ming cosplayer in Raleigh last year? Mm-hmm. Did you see him? And every time he'd walk by, I would yell at him, "Hail Ming." Yeah. And I would get other people in the convention to yell "Hail Ming."
I'm sure that caught on quickly. You don't have to tell them to do it like, yes, definitely.
So, all right, it's 8:15. Okay. So we're gonna wrap this up. It's about that time. I've kept you on a little bit longer than normal. Ray Santana says we had Flash vs. X-Men Havoc at a Manhattan show, and Wonder Woman was the winner back then. Ray's been doing these shows for a very long time.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is.
So I know Ray.
I bet he's got cool stories.
Ray, is it cold in New York? I've seen your Facebook posts.
They're all inside.
I see showing pictures of people in line trying to get tests.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so before we go, JackieCraftCosplay.com. Go, learn, do the thing.
Make masks if you're feeling like giving back to the world right now.
Yes.
Cosplaypatterns.com. I have the 3 different mask patterns on there and really detailed instructions if you want to give back.
Your doctors will love you forever.
Yes, grocery workers, all kinds of people are needing them, but the healthcare workers are still short. So if you're interested, especially New York.
And Oh My Sophie, where can they find you?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. I am Oh My Sophie, 2 I's, no E, everywhere. And I do have ohmysophie.com, which is my Patreon, but also a build blog.
And Casey, where can they find you?
Just Facebook and Instagram because I'm lazy. And that's
Get on Twitter.
So,
and what is it? Super Casey? Super Casey Cosplay. Do you have a website?
No.
We gotta fix that.
I'm lazy.
I will help you, man.
I have an OnlyFans. And that's fun. But I mean, Instagram and Facebook has been my bread and butter, and it's fun.
I talk about you on Twitter all the time, but I can't tag you.
Yeah, get on Twitter.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. You guys are amazing. Amazing. Thanks for everybody who watched. We really, really appreciate it. Keep sharing this out. Keep supporting your local cosplayers. Support both of these ladies.
Yes. So practice social distancing. Be safe.
Yes.
All right, Steve, take us out of here.
Check out the GalaxyCon store online. You can find items like t-shirts, signed and certified Funko Pops, magnets, keychains, and pins, exclusive comic book variants, and so much more. Make sure to check out our collectibles page, which features autographs for every fandom, from Star Trek to My Hero Academia and everything in between. So what are you waiting for? Check out GalaxyCon.myshopify.com.